extremely relevant for businesses and organizations, which is of course insider threats and how to mitigate them. Now, as per usual, every Wednesday we have our cybersecurity edition that is of the Tech Talk segment. Right
Yes.
now, cruisers, as we all know, when it comes to cybersecurity, right, most of the attention tends to focus on external threats such as hackers, cyber criminals, and malware attacks. However, there is another risk that often goes unnoticed, which is, of course, the threat that comes from within the organization itself. Now, insider threats can come from employees, contractors, or anyone with actually who has access to companies' systems. Now, I was actually shocked to learn that even your own employees as a company can actually turn against you and bite you. And I was thinking to myself, but why? Why would somebody do that?
Yeah,
Now,
man.
cruisers in Namibia, where businesses are becoming more reliant on technology, insider threats are a growing concern, right? But what exactly are insider threats, and how can businesses identify and address them before they escalate? Now, to help us unpack that subject, we are joined by Dr. Ialo Waiganjo, an IT lecturer right here at IUM, and also a cybersecurity expert to help us unpack this as per usual, as every Wednesday. She will be sharing her insights on the nature of insider threats, why they are particularly relevant in the context of Namibia, and most importantly, how businesses can protect themselves from these internal risks. Now, without any further ado, Doctor, thank you very much for joining us again.
Thank you for having me as always.
And Happy New Year again.
Yes, since
Oh.
we are just starting. Happy New Year again.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Now, without any further ado, right? Let's get into our discussion.
Yeah.
Now, my first question I want to ask to you today is, to kick things off,
Yeah.
could you please explain what exactly insider threats is?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, when you are talking of inside threats, we mean these are threats that are actually coming from or originated from an individual. It can be an individual, or maybe it can be a group of people within the organization. We are looking at employees, we are looking at the contractors, we are looking at the partners. So we are looking at people really who are engaging within the organization, people who have authorized access to sensitive information or to systems. So when you're having this authorized access, and then now you tried to be a threat, it can be something like intentional, where you will want to steal, or you can either want to sabotage, or sometimes it can come in a form of unintentional, where there's just an accidental data breach or data leakage, or because you just forgot maybe to update some systems, or you were just supposed to click on a button, or maybe you just click on the button. So this is something that is actually within the organization. When it comes to external threats or external cyber attacks, these ones are coming from those that are outside your organizations, more specifically those that do not have authorized access. So with the external, they don't have authorized access. They have unauthorized access to. They come in through hacking, breaking, but the inside, these are people who have access to your systems.
All right.
Yeah.
So basically, insider threats can come even from your own loyal employees.
Yeah.
Though intentionally or unintentionally.
Or unintentionally, yes.
It's terrible. But anyways, moving on to a local context, do you think insider threats are more common than external threats? And if so, why or why not? Which one do you think is more prevalent in Namibia?
So, not only in Namibia, we just released a research paper that we did, of which we were unrevealing the inside threats, and we examine, within the organizational structure, and this is actually within Namibia, and we find that they do happen. Okay, they can actually happen. And this is because of, our lack of awareness, or maybe because people are frustrated, or maybe because they are not just aware. However, the external ones are more significant, and the inside ones, even people, tend to not look at them that much, because of that trust that we have within our employees. But they do happen, even here within our organization. Some years back, I recall, we have experienced it. We actually experienced it.
An insider threat.
An inside threat.
Okay.
Yeah, people that will just tamper with your systems.
Wow. Now, what are some common signs that an organization might be facing an insider threat?
Yeah. One, you will okay, within the employees themselves, there will be some sudden behavior change within an employee.
Okay.
Or you will find that there are some unseen access, some files. An example that I can even give, do we remember, was it last year where the guy from, which bank was this? The one who was transferring money.
That was from Benvendo.
Benvindo. Yes, that is an example of inside threat. That is somebody within the organization really who is just taking money from your company. That is how you can actually notice. And then you find that there will be some, devices. It might not be easy to notice because, it's something that is happening within the organization, and people knows each other, and behavior wise they can easily, trick you. But you need to check this, the information. Has been any change? Is this person behaving in a good way? Or especially when somebody has been disciplined, for example, so they get to be very angry with it. Yes, those are some of the things that you notice, that it could be that somebody within the organization could be tempting with us. Yeah.
Somebody within could be actually tampering with the organization's cyber software.
Yes.
Now, could you share with us some recent examples of insider threats in Namibia, and can you discuss the consequences for those involved? I know you mentioned the one of Benventuk, but any other recent, maybe that?
Yes, there was other reason. The reason even why we did the study within the NAMPOST organization is because there were some, I will call them rumors, because most of the time people do not want to expose these kind of threats, but they need to be exposed. There was also not just a rumor, but there was also an inside threat. And like I said, even us, we have experienced it, and I'm sure many organizations have experienced inside threats, and especially when it comes to the banks. Banks are the ones really get to be exposed, because people are so greedy with this big heart. They want money, but otherwise some of them, they just want to sabotage you. They just want to sabotage the company to take revenge. Mostly when people are not satisfied, they are dissatisfied, or they are stressed, that is the time they will try to do some attack. Or yeah, but yeah, those are some of the few things that are happening within the country, and I know most of the organizations are really experiencing something like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, also, could you perhaps share with us? No, you already shared with us some recent ones. Now, let's talk about cultural and organizational factors. Right? How do these aspects play a role in the likelihood of insider threats occurring in Namibia?
Yeah. That's why it's very important to create a conducive and a loving environment for your employees, because you never know what they will do to you.
Exactly.
They can always try to take revenge on you. They can always try to harm you. But when you have that culture of loving and taking care of your employees, of not giving, especially when it comes to salary, there shouldn't be no relationships. Even relationships, they do that. A boss and a subordinate, this kind of funny relationships that people within the organization they have. So when one gets to be hurt, that is when they will start to blackmail each other. That's when, and especially even when there is somebody who is abusing, substance. Maybe you come to work drunk, or you are high on drugs, and then instead of you saving, you end up deleting, because you are not in your right state of mind. So these are some of it's true, these are some of the things that actually happens. But when you have that good environment, culture, treating everybody else in the same way, with the same rights, and allowing people to speak their mind, it gives really that good culture. And also organizational policies, they need to be very, very well communicated and implemented and executed in a manner that everybody understands. And also you need to make some training and education within your organization, so it creates that good culture of norms, so that they can have this loyalty, and they have this understanding, this family, and they should know how to solve conflicts within the organization. Like I said, most of the time, when we have inside threats, especially the ones that are intentional, it's because somebody is hurting. And we want to avoid that. Unless when you do a mistake, simply because maybe you are drunk, or you are on high, or something like that. But alternatively, the culture, the norms of loyalty and family and unity will at least try to prevent the inside threats.
Right, that's very, very, very powerful, especially when it comes to making sure that everybody in the workplace is feeling happy, man. Everybody is just at peace.
Everybody needs to be at peace, because you see, when you make your subordinate angry, and you trust they have access to systems.
Hey, they can use it against you.
They will use it against you.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, actually, when it comes to mitigating these insider threats, what are some of the most effective ways that companies in Namibia can identify and avoid insider threats before they actually escalate?
Yeah. So we have one of the techniques that I always advise organizations to do is zero trust.
Zero trust.
Yeah, we have what we call zero trust procedures, or zero trust techniques, or zero trust control measures. Wow. This is when you train your systems, or these are the security measures where nobody is known, or nobody is yet known to the system until you are proven that you are really the right person to access that particular information. Okay. So you need to be conducting regular assessment, so that you really check if there is any missing money, or is there any missing data. Are the systems working perfectly? And then you also need some controlling, access control, and some monitoring systems. Have maybe CC cameras up, as long as you are inform everybody within the organization that we have CC cameras, so that they can monitor the movement within the organization. And then you also need to encourage, I know people don't like this, but you also need to encourage whistle
blowing.
The weeds not coming out of my mouth. So the whistleblowers, okay, it will help you to protect the within the inside. And then also you need to use the data, loss prevention tools, detections, and just to monitor the sensitive data, and just have more than one or two, especially when you only trust one person with that particular system. So at least have 2 or 3 to gain access to that system. So that will really help you out to mitigate the inside threats. Yes.
Now, actually, when you're talking about whistleblowing, some people might be thinking, but then if I do it, I might be fired. Maybe the boss is doing it. So if I happen to blow the whistle, I might lose it.
Yeah, that's why you need to create this safe space, so that people can whistle blow without feeling threatened. Yes, because when there's those procedures of that we can have this discussion in the confidentiality, nobody will know, then Because sometimes you see the person is just clicking and you know that this person is tempting with the system, but you are just quiet.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, also, a big concern for many companies is balancing security with employee privacy. How can businesses in Namibia ensure they don't create an environment of mistrust that can actually lead to insider threats?
Yeah. Communication clearly, it's very important. You need to make sure that you communicate the purpose of security within the organization, and then you also need to use tools to respect privacy, such as the anonymous monitoring. Sometimes it's also good that you it has to be anonymous monetization, so that is also good. And then the other thing is that the positive organizational culture, like how we have already discussed, this one will enhance the mutual respect and the trust within everybody that is in the organization. When you have that trust, when you have that culture, then you also need to involve your employees in the discussions about the security policies and how to increase them, even with your stakeholders. As long as you know that these people have access to my systems, your client example, an example is here at IUM, we are using ITS, for example, and students have access to it, because when they are accessing our ITS and they are on our systems, even them, they can tamper with it. So you also need to give them some clear communication, some clear guideline about the securities, and also the consequences of tampering with the system. Yes, so you need to make that communication very, very clear to everybody.
All right, now let's move on. That is to employee training, right? Now, employee training and awareness are often mentioned as key factors in reducing the risks of insider threats.
Yeah.
How can companies in Namibia improve these aspects to create a more secure environment?
Yeah, and you said it right. Training awareness are actually crucial in educating employees about the risk, the signs, the consequences of inside threats, of which now what they can do is to offer regular and inside training and you see, we'll be preaching about training, and even within our organization, we'll be preaching about training. But how many companies really do training on security? We do training. You find we do training on awareness, maybe on finances. How do you keep your finances?
Yes.
But when it comes to training on security, people tend to undermine it and just rub it off. It's okay. They don't understand the intensity and the necessity of security. But when you have these interactive sessions, training sections on cybersecurity or just inside threats, so it gives that help, and then also using the real world scenarios so that you can familiarize yourself in learning, and then you incorporate now the inside threats awareness within the program. So you need to make sure that we have the inside threats. We need to give some scenarios, and even the ones that already happen within the company, you need to bring them out and discuss them. Mostly when you discuss the consequences of, if you do this, this will happen. Let people know so that they will be aware and they will be conscious on what they are doing on those systems. Yes.
Now, if an insider threat is detected, how should companies respond to it? I mean, what are the immediate steps that the company should take?
Yes, number one is always isolate the threat, so that you can contain the threat, and then you can do now provide further damage control. Make sure that you have a plan, because as always, make sure that you have a plan of incidents, and then you conduct now the investigation. Let the person who did the threat or who did the attack, the person must be held accountable. It's very, very important, must be held accountable. And of course, you need to notify your relevant stakeholders, even the legal team, or maybe the government or the security team. They all need to be to be informed. And also you need to implement the corrective measures, such as updating now the policies. You need to make sure that you do the auditing, and then you change again the security measures that you were having before, so you learn from that. So those are some of the things that organizations can actually do to recover or to respond to the inside threat.
All right. Now, finally, looking ahead, what emerging trends or technologies do you think could help organizations in Namibia better mitigate insider threats in the future?
Yeah. So with AI that is coming out now, they can easily, detect your behaviors. We have AI-based system that they can detect any anomalization within your behavior, especially with the CC cameras. They also put in something like that. They can detect your movement, and they'll be like, giving signs. And another one is zero trust architecture. This one that I have also said, it limits the access to the sensitive information within the organization. And then we also have things like blockchain technologies that allows you to have transparent proof of access logs. So when you're sending the information, it can actually have that transparency. You'll be able to see who is sending what. And then of course, training will always be there. There will always be some softwares that will help you to do some training. And predictive analysis is another system, or is another AI tool that can be used, so that it can do some your history, what happens, and collect data about the people within the organization or within the system, even to see how have this person have been using the system. Is there any changes in how the person is communicating with the system, or there's no any changes? So those are some of the things that organization can actually consider to make sure that they mitigate the inside threat. Like I said, inside threats, they are so difficult to notice. You may not just identify them like that, because these are privileged people with access. So yeah, detecting them, it's a challenge to many organizations. Yeah.
Right now, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes and wraps up today's segment. And a huge thank you, that is, to Dr. Iyalo for joining us every every Wednesday rather.
Yeah.
That is on this segment. Doctor, we really appreciate your time and your effort for always popping in and just coming to share your expertise. Right now, insider threats may be harder to spot, but with the right strategies and awareness, companies can take significant steps to protect themselves and their data as well. And as always, cruisers, if you have any thoughts or questions on today's topic, please feel free to reach out to us on our social media platforms. And please do stay tuned to Tech Talk for more on cybersecurity and all other tech topics every weekday. So please do catch you again. That is next time. Thank you once more again, Dr. Yalo.
Bye bye.
Bye.